against the windows of a quiet suburban home, as 72-year-old Martha folded clothes in silence. Her husband, Daniel, sat in his favorite chair, reading old documents through shaky glasses. The house was peaceful, but heavy, not because they were poor, but because they were getting old. And old age has a way of making people think deeply about love, loyalty, and who will truly stand beside you when strength fades away. Martha walked slowly toward her husband and sat beside him. "Daniel," she said softly, "we've spent our entire lives building wealth. We have enough money to change our children's lives forever." Daniel lowered his glasses. "And I think it's time we divide it among them." Daniel stared at her quietly. They had 3 children. Michael, the oldest, successful, proud, living in a luxurious neighborhood with his wife Vanessa. Lisa, the middle child, stylish, social media obsessed, married to a man who loved appearances more than people. And Samuel, the youngest, not rich, not flashy, a schoolteacher living in a small home with his wife and little daughter. Daniel sighed deeply. "You want to hand over everything now?" Martha nodded. "We're getting older. I want to enjoy the rest of our years peacefully." But Daniel's face hardened slightly. "No." Martha frowned. "No?" Daniel leaned forward. "Before we give anyone anything, let's test their hearts." Martha looked confused. Daniel continued. "Money reveals character, but so does inconvenience. Go to each child. Tell them our house needs renovations and we have nowhere to stay. Say we're struggling financially and need a place for a few weeks." Martha blinked slowly. "You want me to lie to our children? I want to know which child truly loves us, and which one only loves our money." The room fell silent. Finally, Martha agreed. And the test began. The next morning, Martha arrived at Michael's huge mansion. The marble floors sparkled, expensive cars lined the driveway. Michael opened the door halfway. "Mum, you should have called first." Martha forced a smile. "Can I come in?" Inside, Vanessa sat scrolling on her tablet. Martha explained slowly. "Our house needs major repairs, and financially things are tight right now. Your father and I were wondering if I could stay here for a few weeks." Silence. Michael exchanged glances with Vanessa. Vanessa let out a dry laugh. "A few weeks?" Michael rubbed his forehead. "Mum, the guest rooms are being redesigned. They're perfectly fine," Martha said gently. Vanessa crossed her arms. "We have a certain lifestyle here. We entertain important people." Martha's heart sank. Michael finally spoke. "Maybe you and Dad should look into senior housing. There are beautiful retirement communities nowadays." The words pierced her chest. Senior housing. From the child she once worked double shifts to feed, she nodded slowly. "I understand." Michael awkwardly walked her to the door. "Don't take it personally, Mum," but she already had. 2 days later, Martha visited Lisa. Music blasted through the house. Lisa barely looked up from filming a video on her phone. "Mum, 1 second, I'm recording." After several minutes, Lisa finally sat down. Martha repeated the same story. Before she even finished, Lisa's husband laughed loudly. "You guys are broke." Lisa elbowed him, but she was smiling too. "Mama, honestly, this apartment is too small." Martha looked around. It was a 4-bedroom penthouse. Lisa continued. "And my followers come over all the time. It would just be awkward." Martha swallowed hard. "I wouldn't disturb anyone." Lisa sighed dramatically. "Mum, we're finally enjoying freedom. You know how stressful older people can be." "Older people, not parents, not Mom. Older people." Martha stood slowly. "I see." Lisa walked her to the elevator while texting on her phone. "Maybe Samuel can help. He's always into emotional stuff." The elevator doors closed, and for the first time in years, Martha cried. By the time Martha reached Samuel's home, it was evening. The house was tiny. Paint chipped near the windows, the front porch creaked. But warm light spilled from inside. Samuel opened the door instantly. "Mum!" He hugged her tightly. No hesitation, no irritation, just love. When Martha explained the situation, Samuel didn't even let her finish. "You're staying here, but son, you and Dad sacrificed too much for us. This house may be small, but it's your house too." His wife Grace came from the kitchen smiling warmly. "I'll prepare the guest room." "There's barely space," Martha whispered apologetically. Grace smiled. "Then we'll make space." That night, Martha watched her granddaughter give up her own bed willingly. "Grandma can sleep here," the little girl said proudly. Martha turned away quickly so they wouldn't see her tears. Over the next few weeks, Samuel cared for her lovingly. He drove her to appointments, cooked meals, checked on her constantly, never once complaining. One night, Martha overheard Grace whispering to Samuel in the kitchen, "We're struggling already. Are you sure we can manage this?" Samuel answered quietly, "They cared for me when I had nothing. I'll never abandon them now." Martha covered her mouth and wept silently, because in that moment, she realized who her real wealth was. A month later, Daniel invited all 3 children to a family meeting. Everyone arrived curious. Michael and Vanessa came dressed elegantly. Lisa arrived irritated, still glued to her phone. Samuel arrived last, helping his mother walk inside carefully. Daniel stood slowly before them all. "I asked you all here because your mother and I have made a decision." The room became still. Daniel opened a folder. "For years your mother and I saved wisely, we invested carefully, and today, our estate is worth several $1,000,000. Michael's eyes widened. Lisa sat upright immediately. But Daniel continued. "Before distributing anything, we tested your hearts." Silence. Martha lowered her eyes. Michael frowned. "What do you mean?" Daniel looked directly at them. "Your mother asked each of you for help." Suddenly the room felt colder. "She didn't need money. Our house didn't need repairs. We simply wanted to know who would stand beside us when we became inconvenient." Lisa's face drained of color. Michael looked away. Daniel's voice trembled with disappointment. "2 of our children treated their mother like a burden." Martha quietly wiped tears. Then Daniel smiled softly toward Samuel. "But 1 child remembered that love is proven through sacrifice." Samuel looked stunned. "Dad, I wasn't helping for money." "I know," Daniel said. "That's why you deserve it." Daniel handed Samuel the folder. Inside were property documents, investment accounts, and access to the family estate. Michael stood up angrily. "This is unfair," Lisa snapped. "So because he played caretaker, he gets everything?" Daniel's voice rose for the first time. "No, he gets everything because he showed character when nobody was watching." The room fell silent. Then Martha spoke softly. "Children, listen carefully. Parents should love their children, but parents must also prepare for old age wisely. Never assume your children will carry responsibilities they were never taught to value." She looked at Samuel lovingly. "And children must remember, the same hands that cleaned you, fed you, and carried you will one day grow weak." Tears rolled down Samuel's face. Daniel wrapped an arm around Martha. "We've arranged everything. Tomorrow your mother and I are leaving for Italy." Everyone looked shocked. Daniel smiled. "We're going to enjoy the rest of our lives in peace." As they walked toward the door, Martha paused one final time. "We prayed for successful children, but what every parent truly needs is compassionate children." Then they left, and for the first time in years, the old couple felt free. Children must honor and care for their parents with love, patience, and dignity. Wealth without compassion is poverty in disguise. The smallest home filled with love is greater than the biggest mansion filled with selfishness. Thank you for watching. Comment below and let us know your thoughts. Also, what part of the world you're watching from.